Chapter 7 The Rage of Achilles. Within the Greek camp, tensions simmered beneath the surface as the feud between Achilles and Agamemnon reached its boiling point. The clash of egos between these two mighty warriors threatened to unravel the unity of the Greek forces. It was a conflict that would have dire consequences for the ongoing war. The seeds of discord were sown when Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek expedition, claimed Achilles' prized possession, the maiden Briseis, as his own. The act of usurping Achilles' honor and spoils of war ignited a fierce rage within the great warrior's heart. He felt betrayed and disrespected, his pride wounded to the core. Consumed by anger and resentment, Achilles made a fateful decision. He withdrew from the battle, his absence causing a significant setback for the Greek forces. Achilles' absence left a void on the battlefield, as his formidable skills and unwavering bravery were sorely missed. The Trojan forces, bolstered by the absence of their greatest adversary, gained a renewed sense of hope and confidence. Meanwhile, within Achilles' tent, the walls seemed to echo with his fury. His anger burned like a raging fire, consuming him from within. He brooded over the loss of Briseis, the Trojan princess who had become more than a mere prize to him. She had been a source of solace and companionship, and her capture only added fuel to his rage. The absence of Achilles cast a pall of gloom over the Greek forces. The Trojans seized the opportunity, launching fierce counterattacks against the beleaguered Greeks. Agamemnon, recognizing the gravity of the situation, knew that he had to rectify his mistake and appease Achilles. The fate of the war hung in the balance, and the Greek leader was determined to mend the shattered alliance. Agamemnon approached Achilles with humility, seeking to rectify his grievous error. He acknowledged the warrior's valor and pleaded for his return to the battlefield. He recognized that without Achilles' presence, victory would remain elusive. Agamemnon's words were laden with remorse, an attempt to heal the wounds inflicted upon their alliance. In the depths of his anger, Achilles weighed Agamemnon's words. The flames of his fury flickered, but the desire for vengeance still burned brightly within him. He contemplated the path ahead, torn between his thirst for retribution and his duty to his fellow Greeks. The decision weighed heavily upon his shoulders. Meanwhile, Briseis, the captive Trojan princess, watched the unfolding events with a mixture of fear and sadness. She had become a pawn in the power struggle between Achilles and Agamemnon. Her fate hung in the balance, her life forever altered by the ravages of war. Briseis yearned for freedom and longed for the day when peace would return to her beloved Troy. In the midst of this turmoil, a revelation stirred within Achilles' heart. He recognized the futility of his anger, the hollow victory that vengeance would bring. The realization that his absence had caused suffering and setback for his comrades struck him with a profound sense of responsibility. With a heavy heart, Achilles made his decision. He would set aside his rage and return to the battlefield. His comrades rejoiced at his return, their spirits lifted by the presence of their greatest warrior once more. The Trojans, too, felt the weight of Achilles' formidable presence as he re-entered the fray. Chapter 8 Love and Loss. Amidst the chaos of the Trojan War, a tender bond began to blossom between Achilles and Briseis. Their paths had intertwined in the most unexpected of ways, their hearts bridging the divide between enemy lines. In the midst of bloodshed and destruction, love found a way to bloom. Achilles, the mighty warrior with a heart burdened by his own mortality, found solace in Briseis' presence. Her gentle words and kind gestures offered respite from the constant battle raging within him. She became his anchor, a beacon of light amidst the darkness that enveloped their world. Yet, Achilles' internal struggles tugged at his heart. The weight of his own destiny loomed over him, a reminder that he was destined to meet an untimely end on the battlefield. Honor and glory beckoned, but so did the love he had found in Briseis's arms. He grappled with the choices before him, torn between his duty as a warrior and the desires of his heart. Patroclus, Achilles' loyal friend, stood by his side throughout the turmoil. Patroclus was more than just a companion, he was a guiding force, offering counsel and unwavering support. Patroclus understood Achilles' struggles, his own heart filled with empathy and love for his friend. It was Patroclus who reminded Achilles of the true meaning of honor. He emphasized that honor lay not only in the pursuit of personal glory but also in the bonds of love and loyalty. Patroclus believed that Achilles' strength as a warrior stemmed from the love he held in his heart for Briseis, for his comrades, and for his homeland. As Achilles wrestled with his internal conflicts, the tides of war surged around them. Battles were fought, lives were lost, and the toll of the war weighed heavily upon the hearts of all involved. The Trojan War had exacted a tremendous price, reminding Achilles of the fragility of life and the impermanence of all things. In the midst of their love and loss, Achilles and Briseis found solace in stolen moments of tenderness. They sought refuge in each other's arms, finding fleeting moments of peace amidst the chaos. Their love was a sanctuary flame that burned bright even in the face of the darkness that threatened to consume them. But the war pressed on, unrelenting in its demands. The weight of duty and destiny bore down upon Achilles' shoulders, threatening to tear him apart. His love for Briseis collided with his need for glory, and he knew that the choices he made would forever shape his legacy. In a moment of clarity, Achilles made a decision that would forever alter the course of the war. He chose to fight not for personal glory, but for the preservation of love, loyalty, and the bonds that held them all together. He recognized that true honor lay not in the pursuit of immortality, but in the impact he could make in the fleeting moments of his mortal existence. With newfound purpose, Achilles returned to the battlefield, his heart aflame with a different kind of fire. His love for Briseis and his unwavering loyalty to his comrades propelled him forward. He fought with a fervor that spoke of a deeper understanding, the understanding that love, loss, and the inherent humanity within each of them were the true essence of their existence. Chapter 9: The Gods' Game. High above the battlefield, the gods continued their celestial game, intervening in the affairs of mortals and manipulating the course of events. They held the power to shape destinies, to influence the outcomes of battles, and to weave their divine will into the fabric of human lives. The mortal realm became a mere playground for their whims and desires. As the clash of armies persisted, the gods reveled in their divine power, unleashing storms and tempests at their command. Thunder rumbled across the sky, and lightning streaked through the darkness, heralding their presence. The mortals on the battlefield looked to the heavens, their hearts filled with awe and fear, as the gods wove their intricate tapestry of fate. The gods' interventions were not limited to the elements alone. They descended upon the battlefield, taking on mortal forms, and engaging in the strife and chaos that surrounded them. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, fought alongside the Greeks, guiding their spears and shields with her divine guidance. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, protected the Trojan forces, enchanting the hearts of warriors and diverting their attention from the carnage. The mortals, mere pawns in the gods' game, were subject to their capricious whims. The gods' interference affected the minds and decisions of mortals, altering the course of battles and the fates of individuals. Warriors fought with renewed vigor under the divine influence, their strength and skill amplified by the gods' favor. But the gods' interventions were not without consequences. Their actions rippled through the mortal realm, leaving behind a trail of joy, sorrow, and uncertainty. Mortals were mere playthings in the hands of the gods, their lives and destinies shaped by the divine will. The impact of the gods' interference was felt deeply within the hearts of mortals. Some rejoiced in their divine favor, finding renewed hope and strength in the gods' presence. Others suffered the wrath of the gods, facing adversity and loss as the gods' whims shifted against them. The mortals, caught in the crossfire of divine machinations, grappled with the consequences of the gods' actions. They questioned the fairness of their circumstances, the arbitrary nature of their fate. They yearned for control over their own lives, for the power to shape their destinies without the interference of the gods. In the midst of chaos, some mortals sought solace and guidance in prayer and supplication. They beseeched the gods for mercy, for protection, and for an end to the turmoil that engulfed their lives. They believed that the gods held the key to their salvation, that their pleas would be heard and answered. But the gods remained aloof, their motivations inscrutable. They continued to play their game, weaving their intricate webs of influence, and shaping the destinies of mortals. The mortals could only hope for the favor of the gods, for a momentary respite from their divine game. Chapter 10: Glory and Sacrifice. With his rage subsided and a renewed sense of purpose, Achilles re-entered the battlefield, his heart aflame with the desire for glory and immortality. He yearned to carve his name into the annals of history, to be remembered as a legendary warrior who had brought victory to the Greek forces. Achilles' return to the battle sent ripples of fear through the Trojan ranks. His presence alone was enough to instill doubt and hesitation among their ranks. The Trojans, led by the valiant Hector, knew that they faced formidable challenges ahead. They braced themselves for the clash that would determine the fate of Troy. The battlefield became a stage for heroic deeds and sacrifices, as warriors from both sides fought with unwavering determination. The clash of swords, the thud of shields, and the cries of pain and triumph echoed through the air. The scent of blood mingled with the dust of the battleground, painting a grim picture of the cost of war. Achilles, fueled by his desire for glory, charged into the heart of the battle. His spear struck true, felling Trojan warriors with each powerful thrust. His armor gleamed in the sunlight, a beacon of invincibility. The Greeks rallied around him, emboldened by his presence, as they sought to fulfill their own quests for honor and valor. On the other side, Hector, the brave defender of Troy, stood resolute. He faced the onslaught of Greek warriors with unwavering courage, protecting his city and its people with every fiber of his being. He led by example, his sword cutting through the air with deadly precision. The Trojan warriors fought alongside him, their loyalty unwavering in the face of adversity. Amidst the chaos and violence, acts of heroism and sacrifice unfolded. Greek and Trojan warriors alike displayed unwavering bravery and selflessness. They risked their lives to protect their comrades, to uphold their honor, and to defend their homes. Each swing of a sword, each shield raised in defense, was a testament to their unwavering determination. Blood stained the earth, and the fallen warriors became symbols of sacrifice and valor. Each life lost was a reminder of the high price of glory. The battlefield was a crucible where heroes were born and legends were forged, but it was also a place of immense sorrow and loss. In the midst of the carnage, there were moments of compassion and humanity. Enemies became comrades in their shared experiences of war, their understanding transcending the boundaries of nationality and allegiance. The sound of mercy echoed faintly amidst the clash of weapons, as wounded warriors were given a chance to live another day. For Achilles, the pursuit of glory and immortality was tempered by the realization that it came at a steep cost. He witnessed firsthand the sacrifices made by his comrades, the lives cut short in pursuit of valor. It stirred a profound sense of responsibility within him, as he recognized the weight of the lives entrusted to his command. Chapter 11: Tragedy and Betrayal. In the heat of battle, tragedy struck the Greek forces, casting a shadow of sorrow and despair over the battlefield. Patroclus, Achilles' loyal friend and companion, fell victim to the skilled spear of Hector, the valiant defender of Troy. The news of Patroclus' death reverberated through the Greek ranks, sending shockwaves of grief and fury to Achilles' heart. Achilles, overwhelmed by grief and consumed by fury, was shattered by the loss of his dearest friend. His heartache knew no bounds as he cradled Patroclus' lifeless body in his arms. A torrent of emotion surged within him: pain, regret, and an overwhelming desire for vengeance. The flames of his wrath burned bright, threatening to consume everything in their path. Driven by his unbridled fury, Achilles swore a solemn oath to avenge Patroclus' death and unleash his wrath upon the Trojans. His grief transformed into a resolute determination, a singular focus that would alter the course of the war. The news of Patroclus' tragic demise rippled through the Greek forces, reigniting their sense of purpose and igniting a thirst for revenge. Achilles, fueled by his sorrow and rage, emerged from his tent, his presence commanding attention and instilling fear in the hearts of his enemies. The turning point of the war had arrived, as Achilles, propelled by his grief and unwavering resolve, unleashed his wrath upon the Trojan forces. His mighty spear cut through their ranks, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. The Trojans trembled before his might, their hopes waning as Achilles exacted his revenge. Hector, who had claimed the life of Patroclus, now found himself facing the full force of Achilles' fury. He fought valiantly, his heart heavy with the weight of his actions. But against the unstoppable force that was Achilles, Hector's efforts proved futile. In a climactic duel, Achilles emerged victorious, avenging his fallen friend. The consequences of this tragic event were far-reaching. The death of Patroclus marked a turning point in the war, shifting the tides in favor of the Greeks. Achilles' unstoppable rage fueled the Greek forces, propelling them to new heights of determination and strength. Yet, amidst the chaos and bloodshed, the seeds of remorse began to sprout within Achilles' heart. The magnitude of his fury and the lives he had taken weighed heavily upon him. The cost of vengeance became apparent, as the loss of Patroclus was juxtaposed with the lives shattered and families torn apart by the war. Chapter 12: Duel of Destiny. The time had come for the long-awaited duel between Achilles, the mighty Greek warrior, and Hector, the valiant defender of Troy. The weight of destiny hung heavy in the air as these two formidable adversaries prepared to face each other in combat. The battlefield fell into an anticipatory silence, as all eyes turned towards the epic clash that would shape the fate of the war. Emotions ran high as Achilles and Hector approached each other, their steps measured and resolute. The weight of their past actions, their victories and losses, hung heavily upon their shoulders. Both warriors carried the hopes and expectations of their respective people, aware that the outcome of this duel would carry far-reaching consequences. The intensity of the battle was palpable. Each clash of their weapons sent sparks flying, their swords meeting with a resounding clang. The ground trembled beneath their feet, as if in acknowledgement of the immense power and significance of this moment. Their movements were a dance of precision and skill, as they sought to outmaneuver and overpower their opponent. Amidst the clash of weapons, a swirl of emotions coursed through the combatants. Achilles, driven by his grief and thirst for vengeance, fought with an unyielding determination. His strikes were swift and powerful, fueled by a potent mix of anger and sorrow. Hector, on the other hand, fought with a sense of duty and the desire to protect his beloved city. Each swing of his sword carried the weight of responsibility, and the knowledge that the lives of his people hung in the balance. The clash between honor, duty, and personal desires added a layer of complexity to the duel. Achilles grappled with the consequences of his actions. His pursuit of glory and vengeance now weighed against the lives he had taken. Hector, too, felt the burden of his choices, torn between his duty as a defender of Troy and his longing for peace and stability. As the battle raged on, the combatants' emotions intertwined with their every move. Sorrow, anger, and determination fueled their strikes, while their hearts wrestled with the conflicting demands of honor and personal desires. The clash of swords became a manifestation of the internal struggle that both Achilles and Hector grappled with. But in the end, destiny would have its say. Achilles, fueled by his overpowering rage, proved to be the superior warrior. With a final, devastating blow, he struck down Hector, ending the duel and securing victory for the Greeks. The emotional weight of this moment hung heavy in the air, as the Trojan forces mourned the loss of their valiant defender, and the Greeks celebrated their triumph. Yet, as the dust settled and the cries of victory subsided, a profound sense of loss settled upon Achilles. The weight of his actions, the lives he had taken, and the consequences of his pursuit of glory bore heavily upon him. In this moment of triumph, he found himself questioning the true meaning of honor and the cost of victory. Chapter 13: The Fall of Troy. The final act of the Trojan War had arrived. The Greeks, relentless in their pursuit, breached the mighty walls of Troy, signaling the beginning of the city's downfall. The once impregnable fortress now stood vulnerable, its fate hanging in the balance. As the Greek forces poured into the city, chaos ensued. The clash of swords and the cries of warriors filled the air, creating a symphony of destruction. Flames engulfed the once bustling streets, consuming homes and temples alike. This city that had stood proud for years now faced the wrath of the invaders. The sack and destruction of Troy unfolded with a devastating swiftness. The Greeks, driven by a thirst for victory and fueled by the spoils of war, looted and pillaged, leaving destruction in their wake. The city's riches, once symbols of Troy's prosperity, were now stolen and scattered, lost in the chaos of war. Amidst the carnage, the fate of King Priam and the Trojan royal family hung in the balance. Priam, once a powerful ruler, now faced the grim reality of defeat. His kingdom crumbling around him, he found himself grappling with the weight of responsibility and the consequences of his choices. As the Greek forces closed in, Priam made a difficult decision. He, along with his remaining family members, sought refuge within the sacred walls of the city's temple. There, surrounded by the remnants of their once glorious kingdom, they awaited their fate. The impact on the Trojan royal family was profound. Hecuba, Priam's loyal wife and queen, watched as their beloved city was reduced to ashes. Her heart broke at the sight of their children, once the hope of Troy, now bearing witness to the horrors of war. Cassandra, the prophetess cursed with the burden of foresight, saw the destruction unfold before her eyes, her prophecies unheeded. As the Greeks closed in on the temple, the royal family's fate was sealed. Priam, once a powerful king, fell in the face of overwhelming odds. His life, like the city he had ruled, was extinguished, adding to the tragedy of Troy's fall. The fall of Troy marked the end of an era. The once mighty city, steeped in history and myth, lay in ruins. The streets that had once echoed with laughter and celebration now echoed with the cries of the defeated. The loss was immeasurable, not just in terms of the physical destruction, but in the shattered dreams and broken spirits of its people. Chapter 14: Aftermath and Reflection. The echoes of war still reverberated through the land as the Trojan War came to a close. Amidst the smoldering ruins of Troy, both the Greeks and Trojans took a moment to mourn their fallen warriors. Funerals were held, and the air was heavy with grief and sorrow. On the Greek side, Agamemnon, the leader of the Greek forces, organized solemn ceremonies to honor the fallen heroes. The mournful cries of the soldiers' families filled the air as their loved ones were laid to rest. The weight of loss was palpable, reminding all of the human cost of war. Across the battlefield, the Trojans also mourned their fallen defenders. The once proud city now stood as a testament to their sacrifice. King Priam's death had cast a shadow over the Trojan royal family, leaving them bereft of their patriarch. Hecuba, the grieving queen, wept for her lost kingdom and the children she had borne witness to. Meanwhile, on Mount Olympus, the gods observed the aftermath of their interventions. They reflected upon the consequences of their actions, their interference in the lives of mortals. Zeus, the king of gods, contemplated the power of destiny and the role it played in shaping the outcome of the war. The gods' machinations had set events into motion, but the human cost of war had been substantial. Athena, who had supported the Greeks, looked down upon the devastation and felt a pang of regret. She understood the pain and suffering that mortal lives had endured due to the gods' meddling. Aphrodite, who had protected the Trojans, also pondered the consequences of her actions. The lives lost, the dreams shattered, she, too, felt the weight of responsibility. The human cost of war became painfully apparent to all. Families had been torn apart, homes destroyed, and lives forever altered. The power of destiny, the forces that guided mortal lives, had revealed itself in the most tragic and unforgiving manner. As the Greeks and Trojans surveyed the aftermath, they were left to grapple with the harsh reality of war. The epic clash of gods and heroes had left scars, not just on the physical landscape, but on the hearts and souls of those who had borne witness to its horrors. In the quiet moments of reflection, both sides recognized the need for healing and rebuilding. They understood that the past could not be undone, that the war had exacted a heavy toll. Yet, amidst the rubble, seeds of hope began to sprout. The war had come to an end, and a new chapter awaited. The Greeks and Trojans would rebuild their lives, their cities, and their shattered dreams. They would carry the memories of their fallen heroes, honoring their sacrifice and vowing to create a better future. Chapter 15, Epilogue. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded, the Trojan Wars became a distant memory. The tales of heroism and tragedy, of gods and mortals, would forever be etched in the annals of history. It was time to reflect upon the lasting impact and legacy of the conflict that had consumed the lives of so many. The Trojan Wars had left an indelible mark on the world. The cities that had once stood proud now bore the scars of war. The lives lost and the families torn apart were a testament to the human cost of conflict. The stories of the warriors, both Greek and Trojan, would be recounted for generations to come, passing down the lessons and warnings of a tumultuous era. The lasting impact of the Trojan Wars extended far beyond the physical realm. It had seeped into the fabric of culture and civilization, shaping the arts, literature, and even the moral fiber of society. The concept of honor, duty, and sacrifice had been immortalized in the tales of heroes and their quests. The tragic consequences of unchecked pride and the inevitable clash of egos had been laid bare for all to see. In the closing moments of this epic tale, it is fitting to invoke the Muses, the divine sources of inspiration and creativity. With gratitude and reverence, we call upon these celestial beings to bring this narrative to a close. May their eternal presence guide us as we reflect upon the lessons learned from the Trojan Wars. O Muses! Grant us the wisdom to understand the complexities of human nature. Inspire us to seek justice and peace, to temper our ambitions with compassion and empathy. Let the stories of the Trojan Wars serve as a reminder of the power of hubris and the fragility of mortal existence. Through the trials and tribulations of heroes and gods, we have witnessed the interplay between destiny and free will. We have seen the consequences of divine intervention and mortal folly. Let these reflections remind us that our actions have far-reaching consequences, that the choices we make shape not only our own lives but the world around us. And so, as we bid farewell to the Trojan Wars, let us carry with us the lessons learned. Let us remember the valor of the warriors, the grief of the families left behind, and the price paid for glory and honor. May the legacy of this conflict be a constant reminder of the folly of war and the importance of seeking peaceful resolutions. As the curtain falls on this epic tale, let us give thanks for the stories that have been shared, the knowledge gained, and the opportunity to reflect upon our own lives. May the Muses continue to inspire and guide us as we navigate the complexities of our world. With gratitude in our hearts and a desire for a better future, we bid farewell to the Trojan Wars. May the tales of heroes and gods live on, forever reminding us of the power of storytelling and the eternal truths that lie within. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe for more stories from Storywise. See you soon.